Wake up, buy here, pay here people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here, Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning.
Good morning from Utah. We got Jeff Martin on with us this morning from the Texas Independent Auto Dealers Association. So we're excited to have him join our audience. And by the way, Jeff, this is a great chance to promote the conference because
that was our first announcement.
Our audience at the BHPH morning show, our following is up to like 6 or 7 people now. So
But there's more people that listen to it, though. It's actually a little bit higher than that. Yeah, we get a lot of people that will download them on the different podcasts, the syndicated podcast stuff, and so it's been kind of fun to watch.
So car dealers are mostly our audience, and they're on the move. So some join live, more listen to it as a recorded event after the fact. But anyway, we're glad to have you with us and appreciate you jumping in for White Hat Wednesday. You're an excellent guest for us to have to talk about.
Absolutely.
The white hat way, as we call it, and kind of what we call the good guy and good girl approach to the buy here, pay here business.
Yeah,
so welcome.
Welcome.
Well, I appreciate the invite. Thank you for having me. And whether it's one dealer or it's 100 dealers, every one of them counts in our book. So we're happy to be here.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. So you got a conference coming up in, I count 11 days, starts on Sunday, the 24th, right?
It feels like every day it's getting closer and closer. I think that's what they say. Yeah, it's very, very close. We're excited about it. It's going to probably end up being our largest attendance that we've ever had at our conference.
Nice.
And excited to have you two out at the conference as well.
Yeah, we'll be speaking on Monday morning on business planning, and then I'll be moderating a panel on Tuesday with some dealers from across the country. So we're excited to do that. I think it's called BHPH Unplugged. So that'll be a really excellent session as well. But I think you told us that the exhibit hall is sold out.
Has been sold out for quite some time. Actually, we'll have about 125 vendors and sponsors in the expo. Nice. And that's about the size that we usually like to have is for the number of dealers that we have attend. We'll have right at 300, a little over 300 dealers, and an expo with 125 makes sense. You can get through that expo in that time frame, and it gives you a good quality time to visit with our vendors.
And I think you also told us when we saw you at NIADA that your room block is sold out. Can dealers still attend? They might have to stay somewhere else, but dealers can still sign up and come in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we'll have a number of people who will register on the spot. The event is in Round Rock, Texas, and there are some other venues outside of the primary location that we're having the event where dealers can still stay. But I will say this, if you're a dealer out there listening and you're interested in attending the conference, give us a call. We'll help you get registered, and we'll see sometimes a couple of those rooms will pop up from time to time. And when they do pop up, we usually try to grab those.
Excellent. I hope Michelle and I have a room. So
I checked, I think I've got a printed.
I thought you guys were bringing the RV.
Oh, no, we actually left the RV behind in Florida, and we're looking forward to staying at the Kalahari. We've not been there. So that'll be a fun experience.
Yeah, it's a really fun property. I know a lot of our attendees end up making a little bit of a mini vacation out of it. They bring their family. One side is a gigantic water park. I think it's the largest indoor water park in the United States. And then the other side is really business. The way they built this property, it's only, I'm going to say they finished it in 2019. And so one side is kind of water park and family fun. And the other side is really conference and business. They have some fine dining restaurants there. So it gives you a little bit of the best of both worlds. It's a really, really good property for our venue.
Yeah, we've talked to a few different colleagues, dealers and vendors alike, and they're talking about bringing their families.
Yeah, for sure.
With them. So I'm kind of looking forward to actually seeing the other, spouses and kids and things that we've talked about. It'll be kind of fun.
I got to pause and do a quick mention. For those who are tuning in on Facebook and otherwise, let us know that you're listening. Please Tell us what state you're listening from, and just a reminder too, if you're like most folks and you have to bail out before the broadcast ends, you can always find it out there on YouTube or on your favorite podcast channel after the fact. So,
Right.
so just we understand people are on the go, and it's the nature of what we do. But yeah, so Jeff, you've been the executive director at Texas since 2006, right?
That's correct.
I think I saw on your profile that July this month would have been the month you started. Is that right?
That is actually right. Wow.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you very much. You did your research. I had to think about that when you said that. But yes, I think it was somewhere around July 6th or 8th in 2006. Wow, that seems like a long time ago.
So I want to talk about your perspective then across those years. You've seen your association change. We certainly have from the outside looking in. We've seen a lot of progress, and you guys do a wonderful job. I think a couple of things I'd be interested to know. I want to say you told me that your particular association has a pretty high percentage of buy here, pay here dealers, at least that participate in the events. Is that right?
That's correct. And really in totality, Jim, we have just over 70% of our dealers identify themselves as primarily in the buy here, pay here business. And then so that then is reflected in our participation as well. Our conference has changed a little bit over the last 7 to 8 years, where we have started seeing more or more retail dealers come in. And some of that is because, and you know this better than I do, Jim, but the landscape has changed in our industry a lot. And so what we're seeing is a lot of hybrids, where someone might have identified themselves as exclusively buy here, pay here in the past. Now they identify themselves as primarily buy here, pay here, but they also will do a little bit of retail. And some of that has to do with the price of vehicles. But yeah, we're about a 70%, or our membership makeup is about 70% primarily buy here, pay here.
Good. So, we probably have a few listening in from Texas. I see Amanda Sanchez. Good morning, Amanda. Yeah. She's listening in from Alabama this morning, but she, and Amanda, this is something for me to kind of get a plug in out there. Amanda is somebody who does accounting. So most of you dealers out there have a stack of payables going out this week. Make sure your state association is in that stack of payables. If you've not already joined your state association, please get that check in there. We can't emphasize enough. It'd be one of the most valuable returns on investment you could possibly add. And so we want to see all dealers get in there. And certainly Texas, you guys do a great job. You have pretty good participation, but I know you'd always love to have more.
Well, I appreciate that, Jim. Yeah, but I'll also just add to that. When you think about it as far as like a stack of payables, the associations really belong to the members, and I always say they're member-owned, member-governed associations. And so if the association is not meeting your needs, or the association is not moving in the direction that you want it to move in, make sure that you're getting involved in your association. I don't own the association. My job is to manage the association. And so I would always hope that dealers, and or for that matter, the associate members, the sponsors, that they would look at it more as, this is what the association is about, and what it represents should represent who they are.
Sure.
So, it's just kind of a different mentality in looking at it as far as a membership and being a part of it, and something that you want to be proud of. So if the association in your state's not moving in the direction that you want it to, and that goes for Texas as well, I encourage you to get involved in the association, because it does belong to the members.
We know you're very much involved in, talking to dealers and members and getting feedback from them. Heck, we saw you made a swing up into the Panhandle not long ago, and so that's familiar territory for me. I grew up in the Oklahoma Panhandle, spent a lot of time, in that area of the North Texas and then the Panhandle. So, yeah, we know you're out there doing that. I would say we want to also talk about the fact that, Michelle and I recognize, and I hope dealers recognize that, if Jeff Martin and TIADA and NIADA aren't out there doing it for you, which is lobbying and representing your interest at the legislative level, who's going to do that for you?
Yeah.
Who's going to do that for you, Mr. Dealer? If these associations aren't there to be your voice on Capitol Hill, at the state or national level, who's going to do that? That's, if your check goes only to that purpose, then that's a tremendous value that they bring. And so we know you guys are out there doing that. Maybe you should tell us about, we know you're kind of leading the education on this new FTC safeguards rule. And I might just clarify, I said this to Michelle this morning, I want to make sure I'm right. Doesn't the CFPB fall under the FTC umbrella?
It does not. They're totally separate agencies.
Okay.
But the FTC has been extremely aggressive, certainly within the last 2 years.
Okay.
We haven't seen the FTC be quite this aggressive in the past.
Okay. So Michelle and I are operational advisors. We don't get involved in legal at all. So we deflect and refer people who ask questions of a compliance nature. But we know that you're very much plugged into that. And so I'm going to have you share with our audience a little bit about what the safeguards rule is and why it matters to the typical buy here, pay here dealer.
Yeah, well, the safeguards rule is going to affect all financial institutions, and so certainly any dealer is going to fall under that. There are a number of new requirements that the FTC just came out with that are going to go into effect in December. One of the requirements is that dealers of a certain size are going to have to be able to show that they have trained their employees on how to protect customer information. And so one of the things that we felt was a responsibility of our association is to make sure that we were providing that training to our dealers. And so we have a course that dealers can take, and we feel like it will fit what the FTC is asking for. There are a lot of other requirements there as far as policies that you now have to have in place. And the course that we are providing also include those policies. They're sample policies. You can certainly take those and make them your own. But that's the role that we're playing. And again, this is going to affect every dealer. There are some exclusions depending on the size of your dealership as far as all of the requirements that are specific to your dealership. But if you have 5,000 or more, I think it's called customers. And I apologize, I can't remember exactly the term that they use there. But if you have 5,000 or more customers, and most dealers are going to fall into that category, you're going to be required to meet these new requirements that the FTC has in place. And so I'll say there are two courses that we have out there, Jim and Michelle. One is for the qualified individual, and that's part of the FTC requirement is you're going to have someone on your staff who is deemed a qualified individual who keeps up with the rules and regulations and also make sure that you have the policies in place to protect your consumers' information. And then outside of the qualified individuals, there is just the general training for everybody from your sales team to, if you're in buy here, pay here, your collections team, obviously anyone in management. The way the rules are written, the way we interpret them, is it really means anyone at your dealership, but we're encouraging dealers to at least take a look at that and identify the employees that they feel like need to have this course. And then at the conclusion of the course, you get a certificate, and we feel like that'll meet the requirements that FTC is going to be looking for to show that you are ultimately trying to stay compliant and meet those requirements.
So if you said it, forgive me, I missed it. How is the course being delivered? Is it online or in person, or how's it done?
It is, yeah. No, it's online. It's a course that you can sign up for. The qualified individual takes about 50 minutes. The course for an individual employee takes about 30 to 35 minutes. There's some test questions in the middle of the course that are required just to kind of verify that you're actually taking the course. You're not just clicking through the slides. And we really put that in place for our larger dealers who are purchasing bulk courses, and they're assigning those courses to their employees. We want to make sure that they're able to keep up with and see when the employee has taken the course and when they've completed the course.
Right. Very good. Somebody just chimed in.
Let me just say real quick, Jim, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on top of you there. You can go to our website and you can find the course at our website. But frankly, anyone, this is a course that's nationwide, and we have partnered with a number of the other state associations who are promoting the course as well. And you can usually find it through their website. But if you can't find it through their website, you can certainly find it through our website. And I will mention, Jim, for those of you who are in other states, We've set this up as a rev share. As I mentioned, we partnered with Alabama. In fact, is one of the states who's doing a really good job making sure that their dealer members understand that they need to take this course. And so we're doing a rev share with them for every $1 that you spend on this course, 50% of it goes back to your association.
That's what I was going to ask is, is this Texas specific? And if it's not Texas specific, anyone from across the nation has access to it? So that's wonderful. You guys really.
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Michelle. Yeah, it's a good question. And like I say, the states have been doing a great job in pushing this information out there.
Right. So we have a number of listeners. I got to say hello to Tyler Simmons from Abilene Used Cars. And Jeff, I saw and I never met him, but the gentleman from Abilene Used
absolutely.
Cars
Tommy Gregory.
National Quality Dealer. Is that right?
Yeah, we're very proud of Tommy, and Tyler's actually his son-in-law. Hello, Tyler. Speaking of staying actively involved legislatively, Tyler he's one of our best at being active within his community and obviously staying very in tune with what's going on legislatively there in Abilene. But yes, Tommy was named the National Quality Dealer of the Year. And I got to tell you, Jim and Michelle, you won't find a more humble person. Certainly an individual that is never looking for the spotlight, but deserves every bit of credit. He and his entire family, and he'll be the first to say that, it's a family endeavor for those guys. And anyone who knows Tommy and Wanda and their children and their son-in-laws couldn't be happier for those individuals. Very well deserved. And I'll say this too. He, like awards and recognition is sometimes only as valuable as the people that receive it. And one of the things that I think makes the National Quality Dealer award so valuable is you look at some of the names that are on that list of people, and I'll tell you, Tommy's going to add to that. He's going to be somebody that we all as people from this industry are going to be happy that Tommy is representing us this year.
Nice. Sounds like an excellent mentor.
I wanted to also make shout out for GR Moore. He's made a couple of comments, but it doesn't show on our screen. I have to be in Facebook to see that. So good morning, GR. So
Jeff, there are a number of people that we know from our Facebook circles that we've never met in person. Tyler would be one of them, GR Moore. Now I see Mark Jones is saying hello from MCMC. So good morning, Mark. We've not had a chance to meet you either, but I don't know if you're seeing the comments on your side, Jeff, but Mark says, thanks for hosting the best executive director in the country. So
well, I sent him a check last night.
Yeah, good, nice.
He's,
we'll just do it for Starbucks coupons.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, we'll Mark Jones and GR Moore both super dealers. GR's out of Corpus Christi. He actually runs our local chapter there in Corpus Christi, and just does a fantastic job. Again, another one who. Earlier this year, we hosted a legislative event there in Corpus Christi, and GR helped us get around 20 dealers were able to come out and hear their state representatives speak. And they talked specifically about issues that address our industry. And then I can't say enough good things about Mark Jones. Associations are only as good as their leadership. And we have had a number of fantastic have a number of fantastic leaders in Texas and a number of great presidents. I can't think of anybody who has done a better job than Mark Jones. Specifically, when you talked about being out in the Panhandle, when I went to Mark is out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, out of Burleson, Texas. And so when I went to the Panhandle, Mark was up there. He's been to El Paso. He's been to Corpus Christi. He was at the meeting that I talked about with GR. And, we always talk about as an association, one of the responsibilities that we have is growing our influence. Well, it's very rare that a legislator or a policymaker comes to our office to have a conversation with us. We have to go out to their districts. They want to meet people that live in their districts. They want to meet voters. And so we've made a concerted effort to do that. And Mark Jones has traveled the state literally from El Paso to Beaumont.
It's a big state.
One day we went to a local luncheon in Beaumont. And so for those of you who know Texas, it's about as far east Texas as you can get. And the next day, we were at a local chapter event in El Paso, which is
Oh, boy.
about as far West Texas as you can get. And it just shows the commitment, the members of this association, the commitment that they have to the association. And that's what makes the association successful.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good leadership helps.
Yeah.
And we see that you guys are doing that. And so it's wonderful. And I didn't prepare you for this question. I wonder, and you can maybe answer this, but I wonder the flavor of the conversations, like when you're at the table in these conversations with some of the leadership, whether it's FTC, any of these kind of things, the conversations that happen. We know, Jeff, that you represent a lot of dealers who are out there trying to do things the right way. Like we see, those are the folks that are at the conference. They're trying to get better at their business. They're trying to do things the right way. And so, what is your sense of the dialogue, that happens with those folks? Are they like, how do they go about making the judgment about who they're going to target? What's your sense about that?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Jim. And let me just back up real quick and say, so when it comes to the FTC and when it comes to CFPB, those are federal agencies, and we really lean on NIADA to take the lead with those particular agencies. But as it relates to our states and what state executives, kind of a responsibility that we have is, number one, building that relationship. And then number two, it's mostly education, Jim. When you talk about White Hat Wednesday, it's not just in our industry. I mean, there's a lot of white hats out there. There's a lot of people that want to do things the right way, whether they're in the towing industry or they're in the dismantlers or the crushers or the vehicle storage facilities, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of good people out there. And what ends up happening, just like it does in our industry, every now and then you'll have a couple of knuckleheads, and they will do something that gets the attention of legislators and policymakers because it comes to them through their constituents.
Right.
And then the legislators or the policymakers, they say, well, we'll step in here and we'll fix this. And so I think our responsibility, number one, is to make sure that they know that we're here as a resource. Anytime they have a question about this industry, they can reach out to us. And then the second part of that is educating them, because we always say every bill is somebody's bill. There's never a piece of legislation that just magically appears. Someone is working behind that. And sometimes there are unintended consequences to that bill. And if the legislator doesn't know about those unintended consequences, they're not aiming to fix that. So when you said, Jim, when they're targeting something, they're trying to fix a specific thing. And many times the bill that they introduce will be fixing whatever that specific thing is. But there's all these unintended consequences, specifically when you start looking at, lien holder issues. There can be situations that pop up where we need to go in and make sure that we educate them. The best position for us to be in is that when a legislator sees a bill or when a constituent comes to them and has a concern or an issue, the best position we can be in is that they call us and they say, hey, I have a constituent who has a concern about a title issue, or they're not getting their titles transferred in time, or whatever the case may be. Can you explain that to me before we move forward? And so that's in my I guess to answer your question, Jim, and I know I'm going a long way about answering it, is that there's two parts. One is to build that relationship and make sure that the legislators know that when they come to you, you're going to give them good information. And then the second part of that is to be able to identify those bills and go in and convince the legislators that it's either bad or potentially that we can make some adjustments and make it work for our industry.
Right.
Because you really want it to work for both sides. You don't want to just go in and just be known as the person who goes in and tries to kill bills, because eventually, the bills belong to legislators. And so you want to build those relationships and you want to step in and say, hey, how can we help you solve the problem you're solving, but not significantly damage the industry that we represent? And I will tell you, 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10 legislators, that's what they want as well.
Sure. So, I wrote an article that appeared in Texas Dealer Magazine in May, and I wrote about the CFPB, and this was just kind of a fun little kind of imaginary tale that I wrote about how it'd be fun if I could spend a few minutes with the CFPB and kind of share with them my own perspective on this industry. And there's several things that we see. You know, one of the things that Michelle and I try to do with the White Hat Way is to spotlight dealers who are out there, you know, doing things the right way, trying to take care of customers, focusing on customer retention, and really kind of being champions for the customer. And so that's kind of where we come from. And when I wrote the article, that's kind of what I was trying to be, was trying to be the voice of those folks who are out there. You know, they're trying to do the right thing. And I think sometimes the agencies, and this is bound to be true at the state level too, I don't know that the folks who are up there on Capitol Hill get to really see deep enough into the weeds to understand the challenges that so many of the dealers that we work with face. Like there are a lot of, there are a lot of challenges that they do and risks that they take. So very real cash risks that they take in serving this customer who, you know, we describe as unbankable, and we're trying to be a solution for them and buy here, pay here. And so I just think that that's one of the things that I would always be trying to do, is trying to spotlight dealers who do it well, and to help those agencies understand the real risks and the challenges that those dealers face, trying to be a solution.
Yeah, and I thought your article was spot on, Jim. Certainly appreciate you contributing to the magazine. And I think that, you know, that was a good voice for so many of the people who feel like sometimes they are, you know, under attack or being attacked. When you see, you know, the FTC coming out with these new rules, it implies that you're not protecting your consumers' information, or you're not protecting your consumers' data. And, you know, what I tell the Department of Motor Vehicles here in Texas, and for us, the Office of Consumer Credit Commission and the Comptroller are the three main agencies that regulate our dealers. And I tell them all the time, look, no matter how much regulation you want to put in place, no matter how much protection you want to create for the consumer, no one loves our customers more than we love our customers, right? And particularly in that buy here, pay here industry, because to your point, you know, our guys are taking a significant risk. They, you know, the customer usually shows up at that dealership because they've already tried to go get traditional funding and that didn't work for them. And so, you know, while our dealer is taking that risk, that's where I say, you know, our dealer loves our customer more than any legislator, more than any policymaker or any regulator, because at the end of the day, we want, you know, our guys want that repeat business and those referrals. And so I think your article was spot on. And the dealers who are in business for a long period of time, you mentioned so many of those names today, you know, whether they're in the small communities or they're in the larger metropolitan areas, they're taking care of their consumers. Tommy Gregory's a great example. You talked about in Abilene there, you know, that's not a major metropolitan area. Everybody knows Abilene Used Cars, and everybody knows Tommy Gregory, who lives in Abilene. And so he's a person who is going to be taking care of his customers, or he's not going to continue to be in business.
We've been in Abilene. It's not huge.
It's not a big place. It's a great community to do business.
Community,
good barbecue there.
It's good.
So, yeah.
It's an awesome place.
By the way, we got to say a shout out to Russell Moore, who's listening in from Conroe, Texas. I assume he's in Conroe this morning.
He's the one that said, my main man,
Jeff Martin. So
no, that goes both ways. Russell is one of our board members, and he is awesome.
We certainly
like him.
We certainly would put Russell in the white hat category. So good morning, Russell. So I think that's kind of what we see. Is I think the other thing that, and I'll try to remember to email you a picture that circulated on Facebook, because I know you're not a Facebook user, but there's some pictures that came up through that we had a really interesting dialogue out there. There's some private Facebook groups that are buy here, pay here centric, you know, and there were some photos that circulated. I think it's kind of takes you inside the price that dealers sometimes pay for trying to be a solution for this customer, you know, that they serve. And so I think it's just important for all of us who are out there, you know, representing dealers in this space to understand that piece of it, so that, you know, we can remember that when we're speaking on behalf of dealers.
And the pictures were of what the asset looks like after repo.
Yeah,
and I mean, and that was like, that's one of the ones that's like, oh my gosh, that's
and we're big believers on, you know, let's remember there's the exception and then there's the rule. And that was definitely the exception, but it's still just an example of sometimes the price that is paid and kind of the nature of the you know, the consumer segment that we're trying to serve, and we're all trying to be a solution, and we feel their pain. We're trying to create solutions, and sometimes we suffer for that. And so I'm just trying to make sure that, you know, folks out there understand that that's part of the thing that happens, and that doesn't give any dealer out there the license to do anything abusive, you know, certainly. So that's what I also try to say in my article is, you know, I'm happy to defend dealers, and I'm not an attorney, but I'm happy to speak up on behalf of dealers who are, out there trying to do the right thing and do right by customers.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. You're 100% right, Jim. There's two sides to every story there, and I think that our responsibility is to make sure that we understand that there are some, like I had mentioned earlier, every now and then you're going to have some dealers that maybe aren't viewing things through the white hat lens. Right. But for the most part, we are. And what ends up happening, and the people that are listening on this on this broadcast certainly know this. The negative legislation or the new rules typically come from someone who was not looking at things through that white hat lens. But then those individuals, they're not going to follow. They weren't following the old rules. They're not going to follow the new rules, and they're probably not going to be in business after a couple of years. But those people who are in the industry and are here to stay, those are the ones that it typically affects. And I think that's where, as an association, our responsibility is to continue to make sure that that voice is being heard and say, yes, for every 1, 2, or 3 bad situation that's out there, I can show you 100 of them that are positive for the consumer and for the dealer. And that's, we talk all the time about building platforms as an association. That's one of the platforms that we have to make sure that we build and we give voice to, the Russell Moores of the world, who is another one who does a fantastic job. His legislators know who he is. They know his business. They know what business means to him. And I think it fits very well in that kind of that white hat mentality that you guys are talking about all the time.
Speaking again of white hat dealers, we just had Tommy Brandis. Is that who that is?
Yeah,
Michelle?
it's Tommy
Brandis from Pennsylvania has chimed in. So good morning, Tommy.
He was out picking tomatoes. I hope he's bringing. Oh, he's not coming to TIADA.
He's not.
Yeah.
So we're. It's probably time to wrap up here. You're a busy man. We know you got other things to do, and I would just tell folks 2 weeks from today will be Wednesday. TIADA conference will have ended, and many of you will be saying, dang it, that was this week. I should have been there. And so we would just remind you, if you haven't booked, we would urge you to get in there. And Michelle and I are looking forward to seeing lots of dealers and a lot of our industry connections at the event. And again, she and I will be speaking on Monday morning, the 25th, on business planning. And we've shared out there, Jeff, that we certainly, from a new dealer to a well-established dealer, we think they're going to get everything they came for and a whole lot more in that session. Mm-hmm. So we urge people to join us for that session. And we're grateful for the invitation. We're looking forward to being there. And then, of course, the dealer panel on Tuesday as well. So, and we will be in Texas for our morning show on the 25th, Monday. And we will be broadcasting live from Kalahari, from the Kalahari somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that will be what's really nice is when we were in Vegas for NIAD, that was a 6 a.m. call. Oh, yeah. This one's an 8. Yeah. So that will be that's going to be exciting. Yeah, you guys are going to go on just before our opening general session, which is we have a really unique opening general session this year. Chad Randash, who is a buy here, pay here dealer out of Montana, is teaming up with a magician that does keynote opening general sessions. And we've been working on it for a couple of months. It's going to be awesome. It'll be the most unique opening general session you've ever been to. I love it. Cool. I love it. The first time I met Chad Randash was when I moderated a dealer panel at TIADA some years ago. So I know Chad and haven't seen him much lately, but I look forward to that. And so again, Jeff, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you taking time to get in here with us, and we look forward to seeing you out in Austin in about 11 days. Yeah. So if you've enjoyed what you've heard, please feel free to go to YouTube, like and subscribe the channel there. And if there are some things that you've heard Jim and I speak about today or other days that we might be able to help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can find us on octane.group, which is our website, or just shoot us off a personal message, private message on Facebook or one of the other platforms that we're on. And really, really grateful, Jeff, that you could join us today. Really looking forward to seeing y'all live in just 11 days. And thanks to those who tuned in, especially those who took a break from picking tomatoes and whatever else is going on in their world this morning. So thanks, Jeff. Have a great day. Thank you, Jim and Michelle. And thank you guys for what you're doing. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.